Hi, I'm so excited to be back home and bring you this video this week. It is all about taking other people off of another platform that you have set them on. If you've attempted to help others before yourself, if you've attempted to meet their needs so that they can like you, you've people pleased, if you've gained external validation through their eyes instead of really seeking it on your own accord and by meeting your own needs first, this video is for you. Life mirrors the way that you lead. You are leading by example. The story that you're telling, the way that you're showing up, is exactly the rules that everything around you is going to meet. Of course, God always plays a part, and there will be things that you cannot control, but the best way to control things is to surrender as a feminine woman. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video today. I stopped platforming other people and they began to pursue me because the polarity switches. You become more feminine by resting into all of your values that lead toward a more freedom filled life, a more joyful life overall. So, these 7 steps are essential because they follow the 7 virtues to becoming a woman who's in integrity, who has those virtues, and who lives in her vitality, which is your life force essence. So, if you want also that, please subscribe below. I would love to have you along. Welcome to Devoted to Extraordinary. Today is the first, last, only, and best day of your entire life because we never know. It is most important to actually stand for what we believe in. So, the very first point is inner work. If you know what your weaknesses are, nobody else can call you out on them. Nobody else can manipulate you, and nobody else can make you feel like they know you better than you know yourself. You have that extra step ahead of them because you have gotten to know where it is that you have a limit. The coined term on the internet is dark feminine energy, but it's essential to know that you have both a light and a darkness to you because we have strengths and weaknesses, wishes and failures, or what we might see as failures, what we might see as bad, but is in fact at its root the potential of love. Because as they say, grief is love with nowhere to go. In that essence, I think every negative emotion lives in us to be expressed in its positive capacity. So, in your inner work, you want to recognize what your patterns are, what your limitations are, what your weaknesses are, and what lives in your shadow. What can possibly come out without you seeing it, but that is obvious to other people. And this can be guilt and shame and secrets and regrets, all of which I talk about in my previous video if you want to see. Quit shame and own it instead. This is the first and foremost virtue of humility. This defeats pride because if you have the capacity to know thyself, then nobody else can bring you down. You are humble enough to recognize that you're not in control of everything. God ultimately sets out the plan for your entire life, but you set out the plan for what you think will happen, and that is a lot better than having no plan at all because you get to live by your values and in your direction when you have the humility to acknowledge that you're imperfect. And in that admittance, it is so counterintuitive because you're capable then of embracing the fact that you are whole and you are complete and you're missing nothing. So you become perfect in accepting that you're imperfect. When you face the parts of yourself that you previously used to shame or not see at all, there is a grace that comes up when you're able to hold yourself in them. It really looks like prayer, and prayer sounds like a scary word or a label if you're not used to religion or if you don't know what that really means. It just means saying how you feel out loud. I really recommend you get into the habit of just speaking how it is that you feel to yourself in silence, but say it out loud because to put words and vocabulary to how you feel means that you're giving yourself permission to actually hear those words being said, which allows your emotions to flow even more. There's not a video, I think, that I don't speak about how you need to speak out loud how you feel in order to release it. Otherwise, it does get stuck and it turns into something repressed, which other people see. The fact that our mind labels a behavior or a pattern as bad or an emotion as bad, even, doesn't make it bad. The body will feel it nonetheless. It doesn't matter what we think in our minds something is because our body is already feeling it. It's better to just embrace it, allow it to be here, welcome it, see what it has to say, and then let it go. It all sounds terribly metaphorical until you simply do the action of speaking out loud how you feel, letting yourself cry, emote, throw something, punch a pillow, talk about it in your journal, and then do it again until you no longer have that emotional reactivity to it. Using this perspective of your newfound wisdom and seeing how your patterns have changed you in the past to act, you can notice and bring so much more compassion to who you used to be. A good journal prompt for this is, what part of myself do I feel I need to hide in order to be loved? It's the parts that we repress that speak the loudest. It's the parts that we repress that others see most obviously. And to own something is so much better than to feel shamed and small because of it. The unfortunate part that can grow if we have these shame stories is cynicism. Hardness and self criticism can develop around who we are and how we speak to ourselves. So, speaking to yourself with reverence and devotion and really compassion, kindness, friendship is what you're trying to develop by facing your inner wounds. Give yourself some gentleness, some encouragement, some grace. Look at yourself in the mirror, say, I love you. You're doing great. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being there for me. And go ahead in your daily life acknowledging what patterns of thought come up that are just slightly harsh and soften them. Say, no, no, I didn't mean that. Actually, let's reframe it. There is so much space and time, and you can start to slow down just by having these few reframes of habits, noticing and changing the thought pattern. Number 2 is magnetism over chasing. This is the virtue of patience. A woman who has her radiant self at her core knows that she does not have to force, or for that matter, do absolutely anything for somebody to come towards her. She can invite with a good smile, and that will be that. She doesn't have to chase in order to attract. She can be magnetizing because of her inviting and welcoming energy. The fact that you are joyful and spreading that as widely as you can with who you are as you show up is absolutely enough. If someone isn't called to that energy, it says everything you need to know about them. Everything unfolds with grace at its own time. It is all for you if it's meant to be. All of these types of quotes are entirely true when you slow down, when you recognize that there is nothing that you need to do in order for it to happen. If you are focusing on your needs, and that is the most important part, you're starting to put yourself in front of everything that you thought you had to do in order to then get to yourself. It's saying, I'm going to do all these things that I don't like to do so that one day I can do everything that I like to do. When I do this, then I will. And there is no guarantee that you will even live tomorrow. Sorry for the harsh reminder, but we need to actually live in the present moment. And this is how we get to just reframing how we think. So, when we honor our needs without guilt, is when we begin to really mirror the golden rule. The golden rule is to treat others as you would like to be treated. But empaths, introverts, people pleasers already do this. So we actually have to practice flipping that rule and mirroring that rule, which means that we treat ourselves as we want others to treat us. So learn your own needs first. You already do. You already know if you need to go to the bathroom or if you need to eat something. You are meeting your survival needs every single day. I'm certain of it. So if you're already there, you have to go up on Maslow's hierarchy of needs so you can truly reach that deeper level of self esteem and actually get to self actualization where we can feel the most joyful and like we're creating the most service in the world. So self esteem is key, and you attempt to build self worth by focusing on you before you're looking to other people to tell you that you're worthy. You need to lead by example. The more you meet your own needs with care and you nourish them, you spend time with them, you are present with them, and you guarantee that they are important, the less you focus on the external world, and even the less you start looking outside for permission. You attempt to take your own way in life, which is all any of us are actually doing. It's as simple as asking yourself throughout the day, what do I need right now? And then doing that. Or finding a way to do it, putting it in the calendar, but prioritizing it in a way that's not forgetting about it. Number 3 is creating over consuming. All of us have been prone to scroll on our phones until midnight or just think that everybody out there has already shared the opinions you have, so what's the point in you taking the mic? But truly, you already have so many solutions and so many people around you who would listen to your influential opinion. All you need to do is create. Maybe to you that doesn't look like taking the mic. Maybe it looks like doing some art or writing or creating in other ways, but you need to let your soul speak for itself. and not be bogged down by taking in so much that you don't also put things out there. Finding beauty in the little things and savoring life is what this allows you to do when you begin to widen your world. This is the virtue of gratitude because you feel nothing less than pure joy from creating, that your narrative becomes pure and simple. Thank you so much for life. You are what you do. That is so true. So when you have a schedule throughout the day that you can depend on, that is predictable day by day and week by week, you know that you are there for yourself. You have that self trust and that inner masculine that is built in to who you are. So you don't need to look externally for validation anymore because you're putting yourself, your needs, and your schedule so intrinsically first that you don't even need to think about it anymore. So when you are what you do, you have habits that serve you, and you have habits that meet your needs, and you have habits that even serve other people. So this may not be for everyone, but entrepreneurship is the dream that is living inside you, the desire that you were born with in your heart that tells you you need to go and do this. You can even get paid for it because you love it so much, and you no longer feel like you're working every single day because you're doing the thing that you were called to do. The effort is less and the stress is less. You don't always feel like you're working. And a good way to start to see what might be my niche, how should I actually be showing up in the world, how can I be of service, is to ask, where do others come to me for help or for advice? Those things are how I learned that I was the best in a coaching position or a facilitator position when I first started. I called it facilitating because I brought together bunches of different women that I knew from different corners of the world, and I introduced them to each other and they all helped each other out. So, how is it that you can connect, make a network, have a community? Beyond this, the Japanese idea for ikigai, which is purpose, really helps, which is what you love, what the world needs, what you can get paid for, and what you are good at, all mixed in together. That is what you need to do. Number 4 is mystery and depth. Here we have the virtue of charity. We are so good at constantly giving to other people, but you need to learn to not do it at your own expense. So, yes, mystery and depth, because we're not giving so endlessly that we are abandoning ourselves. We are no longer losing ourselves in the process. Here's a good question. If somebody treated you the way that you treat yourself, would they feel loved and seen and cherished? Would they feel like they want to spend time with you? So stop abandoning yourself. Really be with yourself in every aspect of what life is calling you to see and to feel, in order to then not have to over explain yourself when you have a need that you need to meet. It does not have to be prideful. There is a beauty in saying this in a feminine way. One thing is someone canceling on you last minute and you saying, how dare you? I changed my whole day around for you, and scream at them, swear at them, whatever it may be by text, and exploding at them, versus read it, put the phone down, be annoyed, say out loud how you feel, do the prayer that I was telling you about earlier. Distract yourself, spend a couple of hours before you respond to that text, go and do something else. If you come back to it, it won't be so emotionally charged because when you respond in a feminine way, it sounds like this: I understand. Thanks for letting me know. And then backing away, because your power as a feminine woman is your presence. So when you retreat, when you're a little bit less available in future because you see how they've now treated you, it is so much more respectable than leaking out all of your energy and creating ultimately bad energy between two people. Accept how it is that people treat you. Won't they feel a lot more curious about how it is that you can actually detach? Because most people's reactions would have been anger. Most people's reactions would have been impatience and resistance. But acceptance is actually this silent power because people are so much more drawn to you when you react in a way that isn't reactive. Suddenly they're curious. What does she have that I don't? How is she so okay with this? And then you change your actions according to your observing of theirs. If it's not for a legitimate reason, why would you meet up with somebody who's not prioritizing you again? So you just go on to not reschedule, or you go on to reschedule at a later date that you know it's not going to bother you if they cancel again. And you begin to detach yourself in a way that it no longer affects you as much. However, they lead their life is not how you're going to lead yours. Never wait for somebody. Always have something that you can do instead, and then it won't bother you as much. Of course, with this comes the idea that you don't have to overshare with everybody else why it is that you're doing what you're choosing to do. You stop losing yourself in the process when you keep a space that is only for yourself. You stop losing yourself in the process when you don't let other people's needs get in the way of your own. You can always adapt. Practice being more private, selective, and intentional with what you share. Not everybody needs to know where you are at all times. In order to develop an aura of mystery, they need to be curious about what's going on in your life. Only your friends and your family, when you speak with them on the phone, when you meet up with them in person, can actually hear about how your life has been going. But that's not for everyone to know because what is public knowledge is not truly respected. But privacy is the real royalty. Privacy is actually what everybody wants because it means that people are constantly wondering about you. And there's something about keeping that curiosity alive that makes them want to come towards you, that makes them want to pursue you. This comes down to not having to do quite so much because you allow them to experience your depth over your performance. Not showing up on social media all the time, not trying to fill all the blanks in for everybody means that you're not having to put in so much effort either. And you allow others to message you to ask, what have you been up to? Where are you? What are you doing? And then you can always say, I'm so excited to see you later to catch up. And you can always do it in your own time. That slowness, that teasing energy that everybody loves. Ultimately, the game is being played, but in a very feminine way that is not manipulative at all when you allow yourself to just hold your own space. So, this is a lot of nuance because it is not just I am giving endlessly, always pouring out energy, which is beautiful. So long as you're not depleting yourself, you need to recognize where your boundaries lie, which is a later step. It feels flirty and powerful and exciting to generate a place where you don't owe everybody an answer all the time. You can just leave it at we'll see or later, winky face, and it's so exciting. Number 5 is sexual sovereignty. Chastity, I've spoken on the channel about before. It is so vital. This isn't only about who you're choosing to sleep with or when, but also it's about purity of intent. It's also about your mind and your spirit as much as it is about your body. Ultimately, you're wanting to protect your energy in your peace and your feminine mystery. You need to know that it is access to your life force energy that somebody else would be penetrating if they're with you. What that does is it creates such a deep bond on an energetic and spiritual level that you are constantly thinking about them. And that is wonderful when it comes to marriage, as far as my views go. When it comes to a committed, beautiful, long lasting relationship where both your values are committed, both your needs are being met, and that is reciprocal love, and it's healthy. But when it's not in this order, when people use sex and physical intimacy in such a readily available way, we are letting wounded masculine and wounded feminine energies mix together. And that is not creating a healthy world in which I would want my children to be brought up. Chastity and purity is about deciding who I'm going to share my life force energy with. And that is one of the largest questions and the biggest answers that you will ever be deciding in your own life. And it's a beautiful thing to have agency over it and to not share it as readily as a snack. It is not just food. This is your essence. This is your integrity. When you save your life force energy, when you choose to go dancing, salsa dancing with your friends, something where you're moving your hips, which is where the trauma is stored the most, so you can move them around and do it for yourself. When you can turn on your life force energy, that is where your joy is coming from. This is why creating rituals of love for yourself, as cheesy as it sounds, is so, so beautiful and intentional. If you enjoy reading, give yourself 2 hours in the evening with a candle, put on some natural oils so everything smells really good, and just read for a couple of hours for you. If you love knitting, crocheting, sewing, whatever it may be that you're creating for yourself, that is your ritual. That is for you. That is creating who you are even more, and you're nurturing your life force energy. Are you prepared to readily give away what is your ultimate source of joy? I don't think so. You get to romanticize your life and make your routines beautiful. You get to go to the gym for yourself and then give yourself a reward after because it's so much more exciting. You get to dress however you want. That's also the beautiful part of being a woman this day and age is we get to choose from all different colors and prints and styles and fabrics that feel good to us. You can take yourself on solo dates, you can choose to go traveling, anything you set your mind to. When you are single, when you have that life force energy that you've chosen is your own, until you want to commit to somebody, it is so beautiful because you have no questions as to what they're doing, when they're doing it, who they're doing it with. It is all you. It is all your focus and it is all your dreams and your desires. And God created us that way. God wanted us to be our absolute best with the person that we choose to be with. And until then, it is simply not worth it. Number 6 is the royal treatment. If you imagine that you have a little crown over your head, you are putting your boundaries first. And if people do not come at that standard, they simply will not be here. This is the virtue of diligence because you are choosing every day to do the hard and right thing that is keeping your standards. You accept the love you think you deserve. We will forever grow into spaces that we allow, that we settle for, that we accept. If we tolerate something, that is going to be what we receive. You have to have a no tolerance policy for anything other than the standard that you set. Otherwise, the bar will lower. A little quote that I kept for myself years ago, back when I made this poster that's on my wall, was fierce peace. Fierce peace. Peace is so serene that I never imagined I could pair it with the word fierce. But in order to keep something as it is, in order to keep something as it is and protect it, it has to be fiercely protected. Or why do angels carry swords? I once wrote. Why do angels carry swords? I think we are meant to protect peace fiercely, to protect our life force and our values and who we are fiercely, our boundaries, our standards. Otherwise, they will simply change. It's just the way it is. We need to guard our hearts. And this is the best part. There is no explaining necessary, no vocabulary or words that you're needing to put to your standards. If somebody doesn't meet the need that is expressed softly, then they simply don't belong, such as, hey, I would love to go to that sushi restaurant. Observe if a man asks you on a date and takes you. Oh, I just love these flowers. Observe if a man buys them for you. If he falls away on wanting to do that, he did not belong there in the first place. Accept and continue. Your power as a woman is to express your needs softly, then observe and surrender. In this is the power of saying no. It is the art of seeing that as a complete sentence. No. No, thank you, if you want to be polite. Do not override your inner feeling of no just to be liked. You can say it politely. Rejection, I just had to do yesterday. I really enjoyed our conversation and chatting to you, but I have to be honest, I don't see this going anywhere romantically. I wish you all the best. It is so simple when you can just take your time and put it into words. Others only learn how to treat you according to how you treat you. This is why flipping the golden rule actually works. You are leading by example. You're not here to please, you are here to be respected, just as much as you respect others. Finally, we have confidence in duality. Having known what it is that we are weak with, having known what we don't meet, having known what we're like when we have rage, we accept it. This is the virtue of temperance. This is moderation. It's finding balance. It means you have mastered your emotions. You're capable of processing them and putting them into words. You know when to lean in and you know when to lean back. You are both soft and strong because to be feminine is to have the strength it takes to be soft. You are both loving and fierce. In order to be loving, you need to protect things fiercely. And you can own your contrasts. You don't always show up the same in every single space. Some days you're smiley, sometimes you're on top of the world, some days you're asking people, hey, how are you? And you're bubbly. Other days, you're just a bit in your own space. You're a little bit more quiet, you're a little less sociable, and that's okay. People who love you truly will accept you however it is that you're showing up, as long as you're not being incredibly disrespectful. It is not about being the dark feminine that's a villain. You have to remain in yourself and owning yourself, in which case, if you're taking your own space, you're leading by example, you are a force to reckon with. You are so powerful. Celebrating how far you've come really helps with this. You can write down everything that you feel that you have achieved if you haven't given yourself that true merit. And in the day, looking back at it, you can see this is everything I did. I'm so proud of me. I really did this. I really went out of my way and did the thing that I thought would be so hard, but I finally ticked it off the list. I really apologized and meant it when it was quite difficult. I'm so pleased with myself. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful that I have the humility, the capacity, the emotional intelligence to face what is being asked of me. And with that completion is the integrity of every point on the list. So, this is how changing the focus from everybody else around me and needing external validation and changing it to what are my needs? How do I need that to be met? What can I enjoy more? How can life be easier for myself? And journaling that and taking time in that, softening, all of it can shift by no longer pedestalizing other people, but by realizing what is already right in front of you, which is your very own life. And it is so exciting to meet others when they do pursue and when you do want that to continue. You can meet up with your friends, meet up with your family, and keep it healthy and keep it open and keep it soft and feminine. There is no manipulating here that is needed. You can simply acknowledge yourself not having to perform anymore, not having to keep a certain energy up when it is completely unsustainable. Confidence and being able to do it and trusting yourself is about acknowledging that sometimes you're not confident, sometimes you don't feel like you can. It is the duality of life itself. So allow yourself today to settle into a pattern of not doing what you always felt you had to. Perhaps try just sitting back in your chair a little bit more in a social company, but also making eye contact and smiling and seeing who engages with you first. And it is a fun way to recognize that you, as a woman, just being is enough. Just being present in a space is absolutely plenty, and you're perfect as you are. So, thank you so much for being here. I hope this helped. You can share it with a friend who you think needs it. Also, comment below any realizations. I always love speaking with you girls. Please subscribe to the newsletter. That is where everything that I talk about is. And if you want to know more about the upcoming course, Goodbye Good Girl, that's where the news is going to be coming up. Until next week, as my grandmother used to say, harden at your hearts, love and serve each other.